Okay, let me clean this up a little bit. Okay. So, welcome to True+Way ASL, Unit 1.3. This is the video lecture. So I'm going to go through everything 1.3, trying to explain what you're going to see in videos, the concepts, and some of the signs. Okay, a second webcam, and I was making sure it wasn't recording. Okay. So first of all, we're still in Unit 1, which is the sort of welcome to the deaf world. That's bothering me. Hold on. There we go. Okay, that's better. Now it's going to probably bug me the rest of the way. Okay, so the first thing, can I move this thing? I can't move that. That is, okay, well, I guess I can do that up there. Okay, so the basic ASL stuff that's going to be introduced in this chapter. Here's a little summary. There's going to be the snapshots, all the different videos that they're going to show. One of them is, why is everybody signing too fast? And it's specifically addressing for ASL 1 students of like, why are the videos not slow so I can follow? It's a choice they're making, is that they're going to just sign the natural way and not make it accessible for you is not really the right way of saying it. They want you to see ASL as it's performed, as it's spoken, and not tailor it and make it overly simplified for ASL 1 students. I think there's a middle ground we could have found, which is why I'm working on putting in voiceovers for many of them. So I'm not exactly sure what to say about that. But this is ASL in its natural state. So this is the normal way people will be signing. There's some fingerspelling tips. They're going to talk about first and last names, pronouns, possessive pronouns, when to use the point pronoun and when to use the palm pronoun, and some of the confusion that can happen there. Go through the alphabet and hand shape errors, common hand shape errors, which happen a lot, basic sentence types. And then there's an interesting video essay on the term deaf-disabled. There are a lot of issues within the deaf community where, sort of similar to in the hearing community, where people will not want to be labeled as disabled, and yet there are people who have significant disabilities in addition to being deaf. And there's an issue with them not being represented and wanting to bring that to the fore in many discussions. So there will be, when we get closer to that, we can talk a little bit about that video itself. It is a challenge because the person signing is both deaf and has, I believe, cerebral palsy. So signing can be both difficult to produce and difficult to read. So I might as well now introduce the sign that they're using is deaf, and then bringing the hand down to DA, disabled, deaf, disabled. And it literally is just putting those two signs together. But they want to try to make it common parlance, that people are used to that term as opposed to being like, what is that? Just to know from the start what it means. So then they'll go through the ASL alphabet. There'll be some practice on spelling different words and getting to do that. When sign substitute, there's two different issues. The one that they're going to talk about is if you don't know the sign for something, our first impulse is usually to fingerspell it. And that's not always the best choice. It's not always the most clear. Sometimes the best choice is to act it out. So you kind of have to weigh it in your mind, especially if you don't really feel great about fingerspelling. Acting it out would be a better choice. So if you're like, I don't know the sign for baseball, or I don't know the sign for bowling, but like act it out and people go, oh, this is the sign, bowling. Right, great. Or bowling. Some people do sign bowling, which is probably more accurate, right? Because actually, no, I don't know anybody who bowls this way. Anyway. And then there's ASL activity of practicing fingerspelling. We'll review the WH question signs, which we'll go through in here. And then practicing using the fingerspelling with your name, what, asking that. And then there's an activity in here, one of the videos, where you're going to be, well, I'm not sure if we'll do the video or not, but to be able to look at someone signing a sentence and identify what type of sentence it is. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it a question? Ideally, even if you don't know the signs, you should be able to know based on the eyebrow movement, what kind, and the non-manuals, what kind of sentence it is. Again, we'll go through pronouns using the pointer finger and using the possessive pronouns. Her versus her. Yeah, okay, sorry. Just making sure. So this is just expanding on what was in the previous one, but the her versus her, plural pronouns. The plural pronouns are when we're adding, as opposed to just you adding two people. Two of us, two. We'll go through all those. Two of them. You can do that up to 9. Most of the time, we do up to 5 in most practical conversations, but sometimes we can go up to 9 if we need to. Using groups. So far in class, we've done like a sweep where you're pointing to all the people, or them. We can be more specific and give a number as we sign that. Also, more of the list of like the deaf, disabled. There's also deaf, blind, deaf, hard of hearing, late deaf, late deafened, or hearing. I do want to point out that there's definitely cultural differences between hearing people and various groups of deafness, which is why deaf, blind, deaf, disabled, deaf, hard of hearing, late deafened, all are capitalized, because they are definitely communities, each having different needs and expectations. And hearing is not really a culture. It's too broad. It covers too many things, and on its own, it doesn't have the same type of specificity or commonality. And then we'll go through times of day, general times, morning, noon, afternoon, night, that kind of thing. We'll review some basic greetings. Hello, good morning, blah, blah, blah. Feelings, moods, good, fine. We've done most of this. Is now starting to do review of stuff we've done in previous chapters. And again, I tend to introduce this stuff for conversation in class so that when they're introduced in the lectures or on the slideshows or on the modules, that it's more of a review for you. So when you watch those videos, those should ring a bell. We'll do days of the week. This is something new. And then included in that, something like your assignment is due on this date or something is due. And then introductions, how to meet someone. Well, not how to meet someone. Swipe. No. But how to introduce someone or introduce yourself to someone, to doing the exchange of names and some initial questions. And then some manners, but some conversational openers or ways to approach a conversation. So we will go into that. There's the conversation starter. There's that guided dialogue, and you'll see that at the video at the end. By that point, we'll have established every bit of information that's in there. We've got some basic signs. We'll talk about opposites. There'll be an ASL activity, and it's really a conversation that we're facilitating, and then a review of everything we do in here. So, I talked already about why is everybody signing so fast. So these are the snapshots. Let me make sure, like, we're going through the videos. There's that, there's that, there's that. Should pause. Hold on. Okay, we're back. Okay, so I just wanted to double check that I had these in the right order. So the snapshots, as they're listed in the modules, start with why is everybody signing so fast? And I've explained it, but watch the video and read the paragraph. Same thing with fingerspelling tips, corrections, common hand shape errors. common sentence types, first and last names, pronouns, possessive pronouns, her versus her. Now, that's the one where it's the difference between and this. And I'll explain that, and there'll be some pictures in the slideshow. And then the essay on deaf disabled. So I know this is a repetition, but this is specifically looking at the snapshots. So the ASL alphabets right here, I'm including links as I get this Google Doc, and I can put it up into the modules with resources for this. I hate static images. I really wish they were using GIFs. If I have some GIFs that I can put in there, it's better if I put them in a Google Doc than in this slideshow, because if you have a ton of GIFs, it bogs up memory, and if you're streaming it, it'll be awful. So watch that video of Joseph Wheeler doing the fingerspelling. That's sort of the best one. You know, I could do it, but you'd be looking at my ugly mug, and he's cuter than I am. So I don't know, handsomer, I suppose. A, B, C, D. Now, I want to point out that there are a couple different ways you can do D. Variation 1 and Variation 2. You can do D with the entire, like O, D, or O, D. No. Or you can do it with just the middle finger. You'll see both. Whatever feels more comfortable. At this point, probably nothing feels comfortable. So just see what your hand kind of naturally does as you do it, but they're both correct. E, again, always try to touch the fingertips to the thumb for E. Eventually they will spread apart when you're fingerspelling fast, but for right now, try to be as clear as possible. F. And F is not this. F is this. Do the little Fortnite. That's the sign for Fortnite. G. Now G and H, again, they tend to be forward, but that's hard to see if that was your illustration, which is why they tend to do this. Sometimes you will see people sign G and H like this, and that's to be clear if they're giving information. And also ASL1 students will tend to see that more often because people are trying to be really clear. But watching deaf people in conversation, G and H tend to be forward. Same thing with C. I and J. J doesn't go to the outside, like it goes inside. You're scooping something. You wouldn't scoop something on the nail. Dig into that cheesecake and take a big fingerful and enjoy it. K, remember K is peace, and you touch that knuckle. K. L. M and O. And O tends to be on that 45 again, but that can look like an E if you don't have depth perception, if you're on video. So some people will just turn it to the side so we can see the O. But most of the time in fast conversation, it'll be like that. P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, und Z. All right. There's a little exercise. Spell the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. That will get you using every single letter. So this is the recommendation of avoiding fingerspelling, especially now because fingerspelling is so new and frustrating. So that if you're in conversation, try to act it out or draw it or illustrate, somehow draw it in the air, rather than just fingerspelling what it is. It might be clearer. So a fingerspelling activity of practicing fingerspelling, we'll be doing things in the classroom, starting with names, then doing like movies, book titles, things like that, just to give you a chance to fingerspell. So now we're getting into the different sentence types. So a WH question, open-ended question, is what they're referring to it as. That you're asking for an open, it's not just yes or no, which is closed. This is two possible answers. This is you're opening doors up for whatever answer they give. So eyebrows go down, the body kind of tilts forward like, well, right? We haven't talked about the body shift in class. We've just done the eyebrow and the gesture and the sign. So just be aware that we tend to lean forward a little bit when we're doing that and tilt our head. The WH word comes at the end of that sentence. So even if you've signed it at the beginning, you still want to sign it at the end. That's the important thing, or that's the important sign. Then hold the last sign to make it clear that you're waiting for an answer. Don't just say your name what. Go your name what, and wait until they start to give the answer and then respond. So pause there with the eyebrows down so they know, oh, this is a question and I'm supposed to answer it. It's a good thing to get used to, because then, especially with each other when we're practicing, no one's going to sit there and like deer in headlights going, what did me? No, what? Oh, you want me to answer? Okay, here's my answer. So wait till they start to answer and then you can drop that. And the comment at the end, 1 through 5, they're all at the end of the sentence. Basically, that's just remembering that this is how you finish the sentence. They all happen at the same time, that they're not a sequence of things that happen in order. So here are the WH signs. We did a couple of them in class, but here are all of them. There's actually one more that's not in there. So we've got what, and it's a glorified shrug. And if I forget, always put the eyebrows on. What? And then who is up in front of the mouth, and you're just, who. My name sign is this for Larry. So it's just, you drop it down from the nose to the chin. And most of the time we also mouth it. Where? Where is that? When, there are two different ways to sign it. There's when, and as they say here, that all of these have variations except for which is the only one that has like one set thing. So there's when, the clock face, the hands going around the clock face, or when, like what time, at what time. Let me pause again. Okay, sorry about that. I had to jump off for something. Okay, so we have what, who, where, when, and the second one is time, right? So what time is, at what time. Y is going to use the hand shape Y, and you're going to bring it from your forehead down to Y. Why? There's a variation of this, which is Y. It's just a shortened version. Why? Kind of like we've talked about how signs will generally go from the larger shape, the more complicated sign, to this simpler sign. So this is more of a bigger movement. It uses the shoulder. This is just using this. It's the proximalization heading that we talked about in the previous one, where the bigger movements will tend to simplify as the language develops. So why, which, it's always just which, similar to the sign for maybe, which, except for eyebrows. Which. How, and how is the alternate, is the variation. How many, toss things up in the air. How many seats, how many chairs, how many people, eyebrows down. You could do it one-handed. How many? And what kind or type? You'll see people do this. Kind. It's two Ks and they circle each other. It's signed English, but kind. One thing that's on here that I want to add, I'll add it to the. Let me add it to this. Okay, I added what'd you do? What'd you do? Or what are you doing? Right? What are you doing? So that's another WH question. Eyebrows go down. So different ways to say what is your name. Your name, what, or you name what. They are different questions. When you're saying my name is something or I'm named something, there's a slight difference. I just want you to feel the difference between the two of them. In a quick statement like this, it almost doesn't matter. I just want you to be aware of the difference between me and my, because it's especially important if you're talking about this person and their thing, which we'll talk about in the her versus her comment a little bit later. And then my name, fingerspell, or me, my name is this. Imagine that you're meeting someone and you're like, me, oh, my name is this, or oh, I'm the supervisor, I'm the director, I'm the teacher, or me. You can see their difference of, oh, me, I'm the teacher, or oh, me, oh, my name is Larry. So just early on, it's going to seem like, well, what's the difference? They're both interchangeable. But just like in English, me and my are different and they have different applications. So I just want you to be aware of that. Again, we go back to the yes-no questions. Eyebrows up. All these things happen at the same time. Eyebrows up, a little forward, leaning, tilting your head. Hold the last sign until the person starts to respond. You can also do this. You can, even without a question, it can be, So this is like a little question mark you can put at the end. It's also, it could be a huh? Right. Nathan Marbury was one of the most influential deaf storytellers and teachers for many years. She passed away a couple years ago. And she was one of the creators of the whole TWA. So you can also ask questions like, is your name this? And you can start by, Nathy, your name? Or your name, Nathy? Notice that the Nathy in the first one and your name in the second one are the topics. So we raise it up for a topic, and then it kind of relaxes and raises back up for the question, for a yes-no question. It kind of feels weird so there's really it's going to feel weird to get used to moving the eyebrows that much consciously. So understand. So practice each of those sentence orders. So there's also a statement of neutral statement where it's not a positive, it's not a negative, it's not a question. It's just this. He's here. No opinion. Shakespeare's here. Right here. Whatever. So you can do neutral where it's just information. The guy's here to kill you. I don't care. Or he's here to totally beat you up. Yeah, him right there. Go ahead. He's right here. Versus he's not here for a good reason. He's not here. No, that's bad. A couple of more sentences that are, oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. I forgot. Yeah. Or, oh, I can't go. Me go there. I can't. Sign for can't. You're going to want to do it palm down for both hands. Imagine if you did it sideways and whacked this really hard. You will hurt this finger, right? So can't. Palm down for both. Can't. I can't. And with that, you'd be like, no, I can't. Don't want to. Neutral. My name. If you're confirming it, oh, my name is this. Yeah. Right. So those are the three statement types: neutral, positive, negative. So there would be an activity we can do. It would. I think they have them the activity in the module. I want to take a look at it. If not, I can create it. We can do it in the classroom where you identify them. Even if you don't know the signs, you should be able to say, oh, he's nodding his head, he's shaking his head, he's neutral, his eyebrows are down because he's asking a WH question, or his eyebrows are up, and maybe he's doing this because he's asking a close-ended yes-no question. So if you can watch one of the dialogues and be able to point out, oh, this sentence is this type, this sentence is this type. It has nothing to do with the signs. It has everything to do with the non-manuals. And if you can do that, it's a great sort of support that will help you as you identify signs and sentences. So about halfway through, let's keep going. Pronouns. Now, one thing that they're pointing out is it's this. It's not this. You come here. That's totally different. That's like hearing, gesture, boss. You go over here. This is you. You happy? You. So we always in ASL we use this for the conversational sign, not this. Again, it applies me. I tend to write me as opposed to I when I'm glossing, when I'm writing down the signs, just because it's clearer. Because an I could be a line. It could be a lowercase L. In my email address, I always write a capital L, capital N, earring@kent.edu, because L could be a capital I, and it can be confusing to people. So I always do a capital L. So I always write me when I'm writing ASL gloss. You, third person. So if it's who I'm looking at, it means you. If it's to myself, it's me. If it's to someone I'm not looking at, it's third person, him, her, them, it. If I'm talking about my dog, although I do say him. We and us is a sweep, including everybody who's in. We're going for ice cream. We. They, pointing to other people. They. And it. Usually, it. Don't do that. Don't say that about people. That's not very nice. So, again, we don't have gendered pronouns in there. The possessive, me, same way we point me, you, their, his, her, the singular, ours. So it's kind of the same sweep, ours, and you're including yourself. Theirs is pointing out, and it's. Oops. Well, here's the question of her versus her. And there's a video for this. There's a video for each of these. But think about how we use in English. We use her for both. I like that person, her, as a pronoun, and I like her shoes. It's different for men. I like him. I like his shoes. So I want to make sure that we're separating what the meaning is. For her, I like her, the person. You're going to point. Like her. I like. So it's like you're pulling off a little piece of lint. Oh, I like her. And I like her shoes. Sign for shoes. Her shoes. Her. Possessive pronoun. So keep that in mind. I like him. I like his shoes. Right? So just be aware that those two hand shapes are not interchangeable, like with me and my. So we can include numbers, generally speaking, up to 5. That's the most useful. So what I'll do is just like we did with same, where we said you two are the same, like 2 index fingers. I can do you two come with me. You two, except I'm one-handed. I'm going to use, normally it would be like a V, but that's really uncomfortable sign. So a K is much more comfortable. You two, you two, you two, you two. We two. Right? So you're using the K. 3 of us. 3 of us, I include myself. The 3 of you, I'm talking about those people. So I'm including you and the 3 of them over there. So again, the same thing. If it's with eye contact, then it's you. 4 of us, 4 of you, 4 of them. 5 of us, 5 of you, 5 of them. And from then on, you could do a group or group. You can do a G. I prefer the open hand, the open like claw. Group of us, group of you, group of them. You can go up to 9 of us, 8 of us. We haven't gotten to numbers yet, but I just want to give you examples. We can do that. We can include those numbers, but they're kind of awkward to sign. And after 5, it's rare that, like 15 of us, everything above 10, you would have to do a separate number for reasons we'll explain when we get to numbers. So up to 5 is the best, and then just do group. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Signs, they'll introduce them. Deaf. So we know deaf, and deaf can go either way. Ear to mouth, mouth to ear. deaf blind, and we use the bent V for blind. Don't actually make contact. You don't want to hurt yourself, especially if you have nails. Blind. Deaf disabled, and so we just bring this hand up and go DA. Deaf disabled. It comes from being interrupted, or but it's now just sort of on the hand. Disabled. Deaf. It should be first. Whatever. Hard of hearing. HH. Hard of hearing. Some people don't find themselves part of the deaf community. Hard of hearing tends to be people who have lost their hearing post-lingually, after they already have language. So sign language may be something they have, but they still are they see themselves as more aligned with the hearing community than the deaf community. Someone could have the same level of hearing loss. It could be mild, but they've associated themselves with the deaf community and they sign as their primary language. They would be considered deaf, or would consider themselves deaf, where someone who has lost their hearing and still is primarily reading lips and speaking, that would be hard of hearing. That's usually the delineation. People who are late deafened or experiencing deafness will oftentimes do hearing, and this is like my hearing is deteriorating. So it's going from pretty decent to pretty bad, so deteriorated. So hearing deteriorated, or hearing. Most of the time I've seen it pointing to the ear because it's not the sign for hearing. And hearing comes from the sign for speaking, right? He's hearing. So that was the hearing deteriorated. Time of day. What we're going to do is we're going to sign where the sun is in the sky. So in the morning, the sun is coming up over the horizon. So here's the horizon, passive hand. Morning. Noon, it's directly above, noon. Afternoon, it's starting to descend. And night. You'll also see variations. Evening, you can show like, the morning was going. You've seen me sign all day. That whole sweep from sunrise to sunset, and all night from sunset to sunrise. So we're picturing where it is. You can, if you're saying like 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 7 o'clock in the evening, where it's, that time between the afternoon and the night. So it is a continuum that you can sign. But the general sign, morning, don't do this. Morning, noon, afternoon, night. Imagine what the sign for midnight is. It's kind of hard to sign midnight. Sometimes people will do it with a 12 or 12. So you can do that. We're not including it here because it's a little awkward to sign, especially at first. Greetings. We know hello. Good morning. You're just going to pair the two signs we already know. Good morning. So it comes down into here and then comes up from under. Good morning. You can do it one-handed. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good night. Or good evening. Good night. How are you doing? How are you? Fine. There's another way to ask how are you, or more like what's happening. And you're to take the middle finger and touch it to your muscles here, boom, and flick them up. It's really much like the Budweiser commercial that was up, that one. So it's what's up. And that also, it's a combined what's happening and how are you feeling. So people can answer either way. So what's up? Oh, I'm fine. I'm good. Mm-hmm. Or nothing's happening. It's also like, what's new? What's new? Not much. Same old, right? So we got more of those. I think we've done all. We didn't do lousy. You take the 3 hand shape, put the thumb on your nose, and just go lousy. Lousy. I think in one class we did excited. You're going to take that middle finger again and brush it going up. Excited. You alternate. You don't do this. I'm excited and look excited. Don't go Nervous, scared, nervous, stressed. That'll be a good one. So here is your high pressure system right here, and you're trying to hold it in. Someone has shaken your beer, and you can see the can start to buckle, right? So you're like, oh, it's going to go. So that someone tapped your bottle with their bottle, and it's about to come out. And you're like, no, don't do it. That's stressed. And you can even do it up and down of like, I'm barely holding it in. So, tired, sick. We already did those. Farewells. Oops. Goodbye. Good night. And see you later. Or see you soon, where you take, it's like name, but you brush it up again. See you soon. Shortly. I've seen see you around. See you the next time we interact with each other. See you. Okay. Days of the week. So I'm going to show you a very clear way of doing it. There's a more casual way. The clear way is palm forward, Monday, and you just take the letter of the word, the name, Monday, and do a circle. Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, you do T into H and then circle the H. Thursday, because you don't want 2 Tuesdays in the week, right? Because God knows 1 Tuesday is enough. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday is the only one that's really different. Sunday. And it comes from the sign for wonderful or great, which actually comes from like Alleluia, church. Praise be, that kind of thing. Sunday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The casual way of signing them is not to turn the palm forward. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday's always the same. Those can be a little hard to see. So I will recommend to start with, do it forward. It's almost like people will say, did you pronounce something weird? Do you have an accent? And like, no, I just pronounce things really clearly. So that's what this is. This is for the stage for public presentation. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's those. Introductions. So the sign for introduce is this. You, I'm going to bring you here. You, I'm going to bring you here, and I'm going to bring you together. So introduce. We know hello, my name, or hi, me, and then fingerspell your name. We know nice to meet you. And remember, it's you and me, they come together, right? Nice to meet you. You wouldn't do nice to meet you. Meet you. And then I'd like to, remember like, or you could say I want to introduce you. And then this name. So this person's name, here's a key. Remember, you're saying this person, their name is, and you're going to tell it to this person. And their name, and then their name is this. That's going to be weird to get used to, but right, this guy, this third person telling you. Okay. So it's going to be weird. We're going to practice this in class. Don't worry about it. We're going to have a really fun activity of introducing each other to other people. Not strangers, but manners. Something I'm not good at. Sign for excuse me. It's also the sign for excuse. Excuse me. So you just take the fingertips and you run it down basically the middle finger, right down the middle of the hand. I gotta get through. Excuse me. Ask a question. There's another way to sign that is, it's the sign for curious. I'm curious. Can I ask a question? You'll sometimes see that. And then thank you. Thank you is double blowing a kiss. Thank you. It's similar to the sign for good. Thank you. You can do it one-handed. And you're welcome. Your welcome is this. You'll see a couple different variations of it. And it feels weird because you're like, well, I'm giving it away. Why am I bringing it into myself? But it's it's the sign for welcome. Usually it's like, oh, welcome to my house. Welcome, come on in. So we tend to do you're welcome. Some people will sign you're welcome that's like, oh, go ahead and take it. The book gives what's the sign gives a couple of variations. They're all basically the same as, no, you're good. No, it's fine. Perfect. Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. Nah. So look at the vocab, the what's the sign in the menu options, the what's the sign. And there are a couple of variations that you can do. Clarifications. We know what understand and don't understand. Understand, don't understand. Can you please repeat that? It usually starts with a, wait. Please repeat, or repeat, please. Can you say that again? Same thing. Sign again, please. Or spell again, please, right? Can you fingerspell that again? And your name, spell again. That's a good one to practice. We'll do that in the classroom where when we do those introductions, I'd like you to stop and go, oh, could you repeat your name? And then fingerspell to make sure everything's clear. Best to practice that one because when you need it, you want it to just drop nice and easy. So here's a guided dialogue, something to practice. If you practice both sides of this dialogue, then when we get together, it will be easier. There's a weird question in the middle of it. Are you deaf? It's a very common thing within gatherings where the deaf people want to figure out who's deaf and who's hearing. I don't think there was a time when I was on tour that if we went into a gay bar that people didn't know right away, like just by looking at me like, oh, you dress poorly, you can't dance, must be straight. So a similar thing will happen where deaf people want to know who's deaf and who has similar experiences. There are sometimes hearing people who will try to act deaf, and it's really kind of insulting to try to seemingly lie about who you are. It's disrespectful. So don't be uncomfortable if someone asks if you're deaf, and don't be uncomfortable asking someone if they're deaf. It's an identity. It's a piece of their identity, and it's important to them. So you can be like, deaf? And remember, eyebrows up because it's a yes/no question. So you, deaf, eyebrows up question. And people will either tell you, or they could say, I'm hard of hearing, right? And then, nice to meet you. And then, you too. Because it's not really, yes, I'm the same. Nice to meet you. Yes, I feel the same way. It's a bit pretentious. But oh, you too. That's a good one for the neutral same. Now we get into this list of vocab that will be introduced, but look over these and then you'll see them in the videos. Finish. It's like peekaboo. Ha-ha. Finish. You don't want to do it down. It's palm forward. Peekaboo. It's from, what was that movie? Pan's Labyrinth, where the guy's got the eyes in his hands. So finish. We know repeat. Online and internet, we take the middle finger down, the internal one, and we connect it like wires. That's internet. Internet or networking. That's where it originally came from. Computer. Take a C and just brush it along the back of your hand. Computer. We could also do laptop, like you're opening a laptop. Book. And remember, nouns do like a two repeat. Boom, boom. Book. Class. So it's the group. And if it's more of a C, it's more like class. Either one works. Concept. Take a look at what they show in the video. This is one that's very popular. Concept. Like idea. Think. Concept. Translate or translation. You're going from one to the other. One language to the other language. You'll see this as well for like interpret, because it's using language. And you'll sometimes see TL, translate. This one's the better one, and it's the more commonly accepted. There's a couple different ones for if. The one we're using right now is if, which means suppose. Suppose this happens, what would you do? Suppose. And it's an eye tapping below your eye. suppose. Video or video, and record myself, record you. They're also, in their dictionary, they use this for like movie copy. Don't copy movies, that's piracy. Okay. Homework or homework. This is the one they tend to use in the videos. Study. Do. You'll sometimes see this for do, which means like action. What are you going to do? This tends to be more used now. What are you doing? Please and sorry. So please with an open hand, sorry either with an S or with an A. And test. There are two different ways that you can think about test. They basically come from this, the question. If I'm going to give you a bunch of questions, I could do, here's your test or quiz. Starts off with just simple questions and ends up being a flurry, right? Test. Or test. So it's repeated questions. So that's test. Okay. Want. Now these are opposites. So we've got signs and then they're opposite. These are sort of special because we wouldn't, with most other signs, we just use not or no to pair up with. But these have their own signs. So we'll start with those. So we've got want. Think of a little kid taking whatever they want. Want. And don't want, where you grab it and go, ew, I don't want that. Don't want. Like picking lint off your shirt, right? And then going, ew, I don't like that. No. It's like the start of the sign for why. No. Just touch your forehead. Oh, I know. If you've learned something, you know it. Right? So no and don't know, or don't know. You can do it with both hands. I don't know. Understand? Don't understand. So with all of these, you can also do want, don't want. Like, don't like. The head. I know, I don't know. I understand, I don't understand. Correct, right? Correct and incorrect. I'm sorry. That was the wrong answer. Now, no positive or negative. Now, later. Or you could do now and it's done, right? That could be an opposite as well. So, oh, we can do that now. Or too late. Too late, bub, period. And then this is the activity, conversation starter, something to practice. If you can Zoom with someone, this is a good thing to practice, like introduce, right? And then ask if they're deaf, ask and verify their name. So this is the conversation starter to practice. I would like to do an activity in class where we do social distance, greeting, meet and greet, or cocktail party, where two people in class, students will walk up to each other, hi, well, not even walk up to each other, walk within outside of 6 feet from each other and say, oh, hi, meet them. What's your name? Oh, great. Then someone will wave to someone else in the room, get their attention and say, oh, I want to introduce you to this person. And then you exchange the two names. Then you guys can verify, oh, your name is what? Your name is what? Oh, right. Oh, are you deaf? So one of you will ask, are you deaf? Or you can ask, are you hearing? And the other person will answer. And then you could say, oh, nice to meet you. And then those two people can do it to someone else. So it's just this chain of practicing that little dialogue. It's going to feel really dumb, but it's good to have those really smooth for when we get out. So now we do the review. What'd you learn? And just go back over what I signed because I'm not signing it all over again. And then I'm only allowed to use this if we're official. So blah, blah, blah. So that is 1.3. There's a lot in it, and this may be the last one that I can do with just one video. But hopefully this is a good prep for the things you're about to watch through the snapshots.